Hello everyone, Manga Scraps here. I really want to go through my collection with you guys. I have so many games that I really want to show off. I've been collecting for God knows how many years, probably about 20 years. And I really want to show off the fruits of my labor in my collection. Because I really don't have many real-life friends to show it off with these days. I think the internet's a nice platform just to show off what you got and being able to share memories and the fun stuff, the good old times with a lot of people. It's just definitely a very, very fun thing to do. So I'm going to go through my collection. I'm going to go series by series or console by console, only because I have so many games. If it was done in one take, it'd probably be like a 3 to 5 hour video, and let's just not do that. So I'm going to start off with NES because that's simple. It's a good way of getting a grasp on like what we're dealing with here. So, I don't have very many NES games. I've got like most of the notable ones at this point. I'm missing like a few of them. But honestly, I've got most of the stuff that people care about and a couple things that, are a little obscure, but hey. So let's just start off. So first on the list is Battletoads. Battletoads is a very interesting game. It's a really, really good beat-em-up game. It changes up the way it plays like every level or 2 levels. And some of the unfortunate parts of the game is just how difficult the game can get on some of these like stages, since it takes like an absurd amount of memorization and muscle memory to be able to do the stages, and I think that hurts this game. And that's unfortunate because this is actually a really solid game otherwise. But unless you really want to just beat your way through this game, and it's not really fun to do so, this is Dark Souls, and you're doing some difficulty that's kind of just bullshit, let's be real. But hey, that's Battletoads. It's got a legacy. I think most people have their opinion on this game, either being positive or negative. Next one is Simon's Quest. Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2, is the black sheep of the classic series. It's got a whole bunch of Monkey Island level puzzles where they're just some stupid brain dead stuff that you would never figure out on your own. I really do think this game was made just to sell a bunch of strategy guides and the hotlines that were going around at the NES era. A lot of these games are, but I'm surprised it happened to Nintendo. I can't really justify the explanation for this game otherwise. It just baffles me that they released a game that has these just mental gymnastic puzzles and they expected kids to figure it out. It's just kind of scummy. Thankfully, the rest of the games don't really repeat this. And we have Donkey Kong, the classic arcade version ported to the NES. Donkey Kong's a cool game. Definitely a really fun game in its time. I think the Game Boy, is it Game Boy or Game Boy Color? Either way, the Game Boy version of Donkey Kong is the definitive version of this game that has the most content in it. I still think this holds up, but hey, if you really wanted to play Donkey Kong, I'd recommend the Game Boy version. But I think this is a really good version if you don't have Game Boy and you had an NES lying around. Nothing really wrong with it. And we have the original Metroid. The original Metroid is a really interesting and fun game. It's also another one of those games where you really need the strategy guide to get through it, unless you really want to pen and paper it. But hey, it's a lot better than Battletoads. At least you can logic your way through the game and build a really cool map. And that just builds character. Let's be real. Making your own in-game map is something most modern games don't allow you the chance to do. And we have tennis. I'm going to go through the sports games really quickly unless I have a real opinion on them. Tennis is kind of boring, bland. It's okay. It's tennis. This isn't a knockout title, but hey, buying these sports games are really cheap, and I gotta get this sticker gunk off. Gotta love all these retro game stores putting their stickers on it without giving any way of peeling it off easy, and you gotta get the glue gun out. Especially the N64 games. The N64 cartridges are like 90% label. And Jeopardy. Jeopardy's okay. Probably not the best version of Jeopardy you could play in a modern era. I think like the modern Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, all these game show type games have really made it a lot more fun to play. But if you wanted to go back and play some retro style Jeopardy, I ain't gonna hurt you for it. So, Monster Party is the next one here, and Monster Party is actually a really interesting game to talk about because it is incredibly messed up. Because it was even toned down from the actual beta release. There's actually some footage of the beta on this game, and it's just a lot more messed up. Or actually, no, it wasn't that it was messed up. It had a lot of copyright infringed stuff. Like, I think they had like Audrey being like the plant thing, and now it's just a whole different character, the way they designed it. And a couple other copyright stuff was removed from the game. But this game's actually pretty notable as it's one of the most gory NES games they released. They actually there's a cool little transition in the first level. You're going around and you're thinking it's just a basic platformer that's a little cheery, and then it just halfway at the halfway point it just warps itself into this like really messed up landscape. And I really appreciate the game for trying to pull it off. It's a really clunky game and kind of difficult otherwise, but I honestly think it's worth playing at least once to get a little experience of it. There's really anything else like it on the NES. We have Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario is Dr. Mario. You have an opinion on Dr. Mario. I don't really like the Dr. Mario series as much as other people do, but I'll still play it in a pinch. But it's okay. Hey. The original Legend of Zelda. People have fond memories of this game. The original Legend of Zelda is definitely a landmark title for Nintendo. It is one of the most ambitious NES games they ever made. Another one you really need a map for, but hey, at least I think they gave you one in the instruction manual. I don't actually have one, and that's why I can't play Legend of Zelda 1, because I would need to print out a map because I'm a big pussy. And next up is Super Mario Bros. 2 or Doki Doki Panic America. So Super Mario Bros. 2 is a game that, like I mentioned, Doki Doki Panic is a Japanese game that they actually changed the models of, and they made Mario characters instead of the characters from it, and they kind of ripped off a lot of the that original Japanese characters that they introduced in that game, and they made Mario characters, which is weird. I think they had like Shy Guys and Birdo from this game, which became official Nintendo or Mario characters, despite it being from a totally different franchise that's unrelated. Kind of weird. They probably should have just ported over Mario 2 in the Japanese version. That was extremely hard. People would have gotten through it. They've gotten through a lot worse at that time. Skate or Die is another morbid game that's not released on the NES. I don't think it's the most morbid game out there. Obviously, it's like very dated. It's not nearly as gory as Monster Party. But I think this is definitely another one of those games that's just a little weird, just based on the Nintendo strict censorship at that time. So here we have, this might not be a game that clicks with a lot of people. This is Snake Rattle and Roll. It's a pretty difficult isometric game. It's actually pretty fun. It does get extremely hard later on and a little bit difficult, but hey, what NES game wasn't? I think this is a really cool, fun little game to play for a few, like an hour or two, and then never play again, just to have that experience. Or maybe you want to beat it. It's actually okay. Not really a terrible game. Speaking of unfair bullshit, here's Ghosts and Goblins, probably the pinnacle of unfair bullshit. This game is gonna put your balls to the wall, and it's gonna be harder to nail the execution of this game than nailing Jello to a tree, for being completely humorous and blunt here. So, yeah, this is another game people either love or hate. I actually do like this game. I appreciate what it tried to do. I kind of wish, it had an easy mode so people could actually enjoy the concept of the game without it being like, oh, I messed up, gotta go all the way back, oh, I beat the game, so now I gotta beat it again. It had a lot of bad design in it, and it really shows how bad the difficulty can ruin a game on the NES for just being unfair. So the next one I have here is actually going to be special, because it's actually not a real NES game. This is Earthbound Zero. This was never released in America. I actually got a flash card of this game a couple of years ago. It wasn't cheap, and of course they released Earthbound Beginnings a few years later on the eShop, but I think this is a really important game. Earthbound series is probably one of the best series that Nintendo had for a trilogy. I don't think Earthbound's a really good game on its own. I think Earthbound and I should say Mother 1, 2, and 3 to be honest, but I'm just going to say Earthbound 0 just so I don't confuse people. Final Fantasy is definitely going to do that to a lot of people when I get to that in the later games I have here. So Earthbound 0, Mother 1, not a really interesting game, not the best RPG ever made. Probably not like even a good RPG in some areas. Very grindy, very mundane, sluggish. But it really set the way to one of the best games that Nintendo's ever made or published. Sorry, Toei made the Mother series. Also, spoiler alert: Mother 3 is my favorite game of all time. I adore that game. and just knowing that it came from the original Earthbound is just something. So, we're getting into another kind of game, another thing I gotta get the goo gun out for. Anyway, Maniac Mansion. I also could use a little wash. Maniac Mansion is a really nasty looking cartridge that holds a really good game. Maniac Mansion is a, I think it's a PC port. They ported it to Nintendo, and they cut a lot of the raunchy stuff out from it. And that's unfortunate, but I think they still got a pretty good game here. It's definitely one of those adventure-style games that they really didn't have in this era. I think there's only like 3 or 4 games in this style of game, like the Monkey Island, King's Quest style. It really wasn't a thing they did back in the console days, and unfortunately they only did it for a little time before the entire genre burned out. But hey, Maniac Mansion's worth playing if you really want to try it out. Next up, Mega Man 3. Not Mega Man 2. It's Mega Man 3. Obviously, the Mega Man games don't get really bad until the later ones. I'm missing Mega Man 1, unfortunately. That's actually one of the staples I really need to get soon. I think the price rose incredibly much for these games. I paid like maybe $20-$30 for each, and now they're like 50, so ugh. Anyway, Mega Man 3, it's Mega Man. It's your good Mega Man game. And, you know, you're going to have your opinion on which one's your favorite. Most people would say 2. I would agree. I think Mega Man 3 is still okay. Definitely another Mega Man experience if you want one. I'm just going to scoot these things down. Okay. Ninja Gaiden 2. The Dark Sword of... thing came up on my phone. Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos. Ooh, man. Everyone's favorite game. Yeah, another bullshit hard game, but I think this game actually rewards skill more than just dumb stupidness, other than some dumb games that are also released in this era. Anyway, Ninja Gaiden 2 is one of those, I think, the best in the series for a lot of people, and it's a really good game. You really got to be on your ball if you want to complete this game, but this is actually one of, like, if you want like the Dark Souls experience on the NES, this is a game that's really going to test your muscle memory and ability to react, just like Dark Souls does. Okay, what do I say about this game that hasn't been said? It's Mario Brothers 3. It's probably one of the better 2D. It's not my favorite Mario game. It's not my favorite 2D Mario game either. But I think it's definitely the best game on the NES by far. They just nailed it. They mastered the hardware for the NES. They made a really, really good game. And this game is legendary. Let's not mince words here. This game is legendary. I actually have the box for this game. I should pull it out. It's one of the few NES games I actually have the box for. I don't collect boxes because what am I going to do with a bunch of cardboard boxes? Then I have to store them away and nobody really cares that I got the box even though it increased the value. I'm not into that hardcore collecting scene. I just collect for fun. Oh, it's a baseball. It's baseball. It's exactly what you expect from NES baseball. Again, these early sports games really didn't really stand out that much. They're just basic concepts of the sport, and I don't think I even actually played the baseball NES game. I probably should just give it a shot. It's not bad. It doesn't seem bad. I don't think any of these sport games are really awful. Probably one of the safer options if you want a sports game on the NES. Although there is a baseball game that I do think is one of the best of the NES SNES genre. And then I'll show it off later. It's not a game people really know about. And Double Dragon 2. Really good beat-em-up game. A lot of people really have fun memories of this game. I really don't have a lot of things to say about this game. I think if you're aware of this game, you have an opinion on it. I think it's definitely one of the better NES games, definitely a staple. One thing I'm actually missing from my collections is some of the old Contra games. I actually don't have them. So, Batman the video game. Fun fact, Batman for the Game Boy Pocket is my first video game I ever actually owned. That game was weird. That game you were Batman and you shot people with a gun. Look it up. it's got the same logo as if you're having trouble finding it. But that game's really funny because you're just pew pew. You know, you're pew pewing the villains with your gun. Although this was 1989 Batman, he did kill people. Wheel of Fortune. It's Wheel of Fortune. This is actually an okay version of Wheel of Fortune. It's, you know, if you want to play it with the NES pad, that's fine. Okay, you know, Wheel of Fortune. It's a pretty good version of this game. The modern one's trump it, of course, but hey, that's going to be true for a lot of these games. Bionic Commando. Another game that people have a lot of opinions about. I think this game is actually pretty fun. This game's, you know, again, pretty hard. But it's another game that kind of rewards you. And nothing wrong with that. You can probably bundle all these games in the same cloth if you really wanted to. It's hard, but it's rewarding and fun. Or it's just bullshit and hard, but you still enjoy it anyway because you're that kind of gamer. And we have Excitebike. Excitebike is a really good game for its time. I don't think it held up today, but hey, that game's pretty fun. Had a track editor, which is something that really didn't happen back in the day. So you gotta give it points for that. And, you know, it's very basic. Probably a lot of kids got some enjoyment out of back in the day with this game, but I don't think it really holds up as much as some of the other NES classics from Nintendo do. And that's a shame, but I think, you know, Excitebike definitely has a place in Nintendo history as a positive note in its long line of good NES games and just games in general. Definitely a positive one for its influences. Mega Man 4. It's another Mega Man. Look at that artwork. He looks like a gremlin. Looks like he's gonna come to your house and steal your Lucky Charms. I love American artwork sometimes. I love American art sometimes. Look at this guy. Looks like he belongs in like a knockoff like Spider-Man parody. Anyway. It looks like he belongs in a porno, let's be honest. So, Mega Man 2, the best Mega Man game. Nobody's gonna disagree with me, right? Right. People can disagree with me. And hello. Dusty. That's why I'm cataloging. I get to pull some games out and actually get to clean properly. Because when you have as many games as I do, it just gets to be a nightmare to actually clean and sort. So this is my opportunity to actually clean some of this stuff. So Paperboy. Probably one of my personal favorites. If I was going to say a game that I actually like, but like he's not great, not perfect, but I absolutely love, it's Paperboy. This is one of those games where I could just pop it in anytime and have a good 10 minutes. It's just fun. And then just get annoyed with it because it just doesn't feel good to play it. I actually do like that game a lot. So, Wizards and Warriors is next. This is I think it's if I'm remembering it, this is like a really bad game. But I think I saw Continue play it once, and I'm like, oh, I'll pick that up. Or Game Grumps or something from back, you know, when I used to watch all these guys. But hey, it's something. Certainly a game that adds to my collection. I actually did pretty well with the NES. I have a lot of garbage games from my other collections. I think NES held up. Probably because the NES games aren't... You don't find too many NES games for cheap. Speaking of NES games for cheap, Golf is actually probably the best one out of the NES line for the sports games. I do love the systems they came out for this golf game, and they obviously went with it for the rest of their Nintendo line of golf games. And I really do appreciate them actually doing something really cool with the concept and making it actually a really enjoyable golf game. Probably the best individual sports game on the NES, if you ask me. Although there's probably some good... I think there's a lot of pretty good sports games for the NES, too, that do get overlooked. I don't have many of them, unfortunately, and Top Gun, this game is absolute ass. It made a very good AVGN episode. But that's all you can say about it. They don't play this game at all. Actually, I'm sure somebody knows how to play it, and they probably enjoy it. There's always that one guy out there who this is their favorite game. You know the legacy. You've all seen the Angry Video Game Nerd episode, or at least seen some episodes discussing this game. If not, you should. That was one of the better old nerd episodes. Castlevania 3, Draculas Curse. I don't really know anything about this game, but to say anything about it, but at least not Castlevania 2. I think this is probably like the second. Like if you wanted to put like the 4 games in like a list of best to worst, I think it would be Castlevania 4, Castlevania 1, Castlevania 3, and Castlevania 2. But I really do think Castlevania 3 is actually better than I'm really making it out to be. This game's actually pretty good. I got no problems with it. Again, it's not Castlevania 2. Ooh, here we got a fun one here. This is a game made by McDonald's. It's called MC Kids. This is where you gotta find, I believe this is the game where you need to find Ronald McDonald's magic sack or something like that. The jokes. It's actually a Mario 3 ripoff. It really is not a very good Mario 3 ripoff, but you can definitely tell in the minute you play it's based off of it. What a weird game. Definitely a discussion piece for sure. Punch Out. This isn't the version with Mike Tyson in it. I think this is the one with Mr. Dream. I have to double check though. Anyway, Punch Out is a really good game. It's definitely one of the best ones on the NES. Definitely not been overlooked. I think a lot of people really know about this game in this era. So this game got the love it deserves. If you haven't played it yet, just give it a shot. It'll take you some time to learn it, but this is one of those games where if you actually put the time to learning this game, you're really gonna enjoy it. It's got a difficulty to it, but I think it's one of the most fair difficulty curves in the entire NES library. A sneak peek there of my PSP collection over there. That'll be funny to talk to. It'll be like 10 seconds per game. Anyway, it's Oh, it's a baseball. Do I need to say anything else? I don't, do I? Woo! DuckTales. I wish I could do something about this little nick over here. It drives me crazy. I got this at a yard sale for a song, so I'm not complaining about it, but DuckTales is definitely one of the legendary platformers that inspired so many games, like Shovel Knight, for instance. They took the pogo bouncing from DuckTales and put it in that game. Anyway, definitely a really legendary, this definitely one of the best licensed games they ever made in the full time, up there with Spider-Man 2 and everything else you want to jerk around. This is definitely one of the best platformers outside of Mario on the NES. And it almost doesn't deserve it. It's just that interesting of a franchise that Disney DuckTales, a TV show, and a long running series, got a really, really good game. Kudos. Thank you. I wish more people made good games that were based on properties people like. Although it's gotten better. Certainly has gotten better now that they stopped making those really trash games for movies. Super Mario Brothers Entertainment System, you know what it is. You know what it is. People who don't play video games know what this game is. Super Mario Brothers is the game that your grandmother knows about. Your grandmother doesn't even know what a video game is. But she knows Mario Brothers. And, Mario's about to die, so you see that's lava there, running into a brick. And about to get hit by a fireball. He's not going to have a very good afternoon. And neither is the player if they're going to run into that level. And probably the most mixed game in the NES collection and reception-wise, Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link. This is one that people really love or really hate. I see what they were trying to go for here. They were trying to do something they couldn't really pull off on the NES, but I gotta say, God bless them for trying. Definitely a good game, very hard. I think if it was a little easier, I think people would have liked it more. But not every game could be easy, but it's clunky, it's funky. What do I think about this game? Other than the fact that they tried to do something and didn't work out, I don't think this is a very good Zelda game. I think that the dungeons are a bit boring, and the combat's not as fun as the way they had it in the first game. I really think they should have just kept with the 2D formula until they're ready to move on to 3D. But the side-scrolling thing just didn't work out for them. It's a shame. I think if they gave this game another shot, they just did another like 2D Zelda game, they could have probably pulled something really fun, interesting off. Or it could have just been another Hey Pikmin. And lastly, for this collection, I'm gonna do Bobble Bobble, the best theme song for the NES. Seriously, listen to that song. You can probably listen to it for about 30 minutes before you just want to switch it off. I think the song really carries this game. It's not a very bad game either. It's one of the best games, one of the most interesting co-ops. Yep, Bubble Bobble is definitely a game you should play and own for the NES if you have an interest in collecting for the NES. Because this game's actually really good. And that does it for the NES collection. This video is 25 minutes long, and I think the NES collection is one of my smaller collections, so God help me when I get to the PS2 or some of my other bigger collections. If I ever do a Steam collection, good God, it's going to be like a 20-parter. It's going to be longer than Game of Thrones. Anyway, have a good afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, and keep on playing, keep on collecting, keep on enjoying video games and everything that means to it. Because, like it or not, video games are definitely the future of entertainment. And it's just going to get better and better unless the industry fucks it up. Anyway. Hey.